basically cutting right through Tell City, as you see here on our map, Tell and City. That's basically where this polygon starts, is right there. So again, this is moving to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. So we'll go ahead and put a track on this for you so that you can see that if indeed you might be in the particular path of this. Usually we kind of draw what's a squall, but this, first off, I want to use a comb. I would estimate by looking at the reflectivity right now, the tornado would be right about here, just to the north of Hallsville, which, by the way, you're not under that tornado warning, but this is just right on the Perry County, Hancock County line. So we'll put a track on this to the north and east at about 30 miles per hour. So here in about 2 minutes, Tell City at 2:45, Lilydale at 3:01, and then getting into Gatchel 3:04 and Terry by 3:10. So what we'll do now is we're going to go to the radar, and we're going to start looking at the velocities with this. First off, this is a little bit closer over to Louisville. So we'll go to the Louisville radar first and check this out. And you can kind of see this is where the rotation is. Now, according to the Louisville radar, if I were to kind of give you an estimate as to where this is just to the north and east here of Tell City. What we'll do, I want to zoom in a little bit closer, see if we can get some more specific cities for you, just so we can kind of let you know what's going on. So we'll, oh, wrong camera's there. We'll zoom in just a little bit closer to kind of see. So we'll take our zoom in here. I want to zoom in close to this particular couplet. This is actually a fairly good couplet here that you see. All right, so to kind of give you a better indication, north and just slightly east of Tell City, this would be directly east of Troy and Indiana at 5:45 is where this will be. We're going to pan this off just a little bit so I can kind of show you. This is what they're looking at right here. This is the particular couplet. This is not too dark of a shade of blue. However, this is quite a brighter shade of red, getting a little close to the pink, if you will, and that rotation would be right here. So this would be just directly now to the west, maybe if not right on top of the intersection of Indiana 37 and 237, to the north of Finn Haven and to the north and east of Tell City. So we'll zoom out just a little bit in this particular area, and we'll move the camera over just a little bit. I also want to check out the Owensville radar with this as well, because this is the Louisville radar, which is a little bit closer. There's the latest scan that just came in. Not too much intensity, but also not much weakening with this as well. If I were to kind of base this, I would say this is some pretty broad rotation going on right now. This is, again, moving up to the north and east. So Lilydale, you would be in the path of this. And I apologize if I pronounce this one city incorrectly. Gatchel, not too familiar with that particular location. Cannelton, you are okay. In fact, Cannelton, you are not in the tornado warning right now, but Cannelton, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning with potential 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that severe thunderstorm warning, that goes until 3:15 as the tornado warning here continues on inside that severe thunderstorm warning. So now what we'll do is I do want to go back. I want to check out the radar from the Owensville because we can get just a slightly higher look into the storm from the Owensville radar. It's a little bit further away, and we'll check out the reflectivity there as well. And the Owensville radar picking this up as well. This is the first radar I was looking at earlier when it came to looking at these couplets and seeing if this could possibly be a tornado. So this is shooting a little bit higher into the storm because the radar beam does not just shoot straight out. It kind of goes up at an angle. Depending what the radar, the antenna moves up and down, so the angle is a little different scan-wise. But nonetheless, this is shooting a little bit higher up into the storm with this particular radar, and it's also seeing this as well. But I do want to go back to the Louisville radar since this is handled closer to the Louisville radar than anything, just so we can keep a better eye on this. Because with the situation we have going on today in the atmosphere, we do have a lot of low-level moisture, and that's one of the key ingredients for tornadoes, having a lot of low-level moisture. And one way that you can tell if you have low-level moisture is just go find a big antenna somewhere that might be nearby. And if you can't see the top of it, a radio station antenna, a TV station antenna like ours, and you can't see the top, that's a good indication that you've really got some low-level moisture. So now, waiting for the latest scan to come back in here from the Louisville radar, but nonetheless, if I'm taking a guess with this now as to where it's at, since this only updates about every 3 to 5 minutes. I would say this is getting very close now to Lilydale area because, again, this is moving up to the north and east. So I'll put another track on this for you. I'll base it on where I think the tornado is now with this particular couplet and scan that we just got in. Again, I'm going to use the cone on this one. I'm going to put it basically starting right where the couplet is. We'll move it up to the north and east. This will take it just a little bit outside the polygon, but this now gets it into Gatchel about 310s. That's a little bit of ways from now, and 318 into Terry. I'm going to step off the screen just for a second. I want to check any kind of reports that may be coming in from the National Weather Service about this. You know, I don't want to say they were reluctant in issuing this tornado warning, but they did say that they had seen some strengthening with this. So they are saying some low-level circulation moving into Perry County, and they even said it has strengthened significantly over the past few minutes. That is why they issued the tornado warning with this. However, no other reports or anything like this just yet coming in from the National Weather Service. No reports of at least any damage or anything of that nature. This is the only severe weather event we actually have going on right now across the tri-state, and basically the entire tri-state is under a marginal risk. They did put a chance of a tornado today, isolated chance for a tornado and some damaging winds, and they estimate about 3 o'clock or so is when all this could begin to ramp up, and here we are at 2:49, getting very close to 3, and indeed we have that going on here with a severe thunderstorm warning as well as this tornado warning as well. So first off, we'll kind of keep an eye on these couplets, but when the severe thunderstorm warning came out, they did not put any sort of hail threat with that. They were only going damaging 60-mile-per-hour winds. So what we're going to do now is, just to be safe, we'll kind of take a look and see if there might be any other things going on in the film. There might be some hail associated with this. Again, they didn't put that in the warning, but nonetheless, they did say the 60-mile-per-hour winds. Yeah, our hail tracker here, as you can see, is not putting up anything at all when it comes to the amount of hail. So that is good. That's good news there. If you're not at least in the path of this particular tornado warning, Leopold, give you a heads up as well. This will be heading your direction. You're not under the tornado warning right now, but if they wish to extend this at some point, then Leopold, this would be extended into your area. I want to take a look at what's called the raw velocities. That is basically looking at the winds and the storm, but not factoring in the motion that the storm is moving. This is just looking strictly at the winds. And yes, we do have the brighter, or darker shades rather, of blue here, but luckily not seeing any brighter shades of pink. So that's a good sign there when you look at just those straight winds, and that is it. You don't use any kind of mathematical formulas to take in the direction there of the storm. But if we look at the storm relative velocity, you can see when it comes to at least the direction of the storm. There's the latest scan that just came in. A little bit broader rotation now. Still would not rule out that there could be a tornado here, but I'm now seeing that the blue that we've been watching for some time, now a little bit more separated from the brighter shade of red that you see there. Still a little bit going on, though, right here, right along Indiana 145, which could be where this tornado is at if there was one. So I'm going to move this camera just a little bit so we can kind of keep track of what's going on. Oh, nope, that was the tool that we used to track with. So we'll move this down just a little bit, and then I'm going to put a new track on this for you since the new update just came down, so we can kind of see what, if you might be in the path. And since this is now slightly broader rotation, I will go ahead and use the squall line on this one instead. That'll give us a broader view and a broader range of cities with this as well. So basically I'm just going to do it inside the entire polygon. We're going to move it up to the north and east at 30. This is going to take it outside the particular severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning as well. But nonetheless, it at least kind of give you a little heads up here for your area if there is anything possibly heading your way. So here we are. There it is, 257 into the Lilydale area, 301 there, Gatchel, 306 Gerald. That other city, not too familiar with that one, 312 Chenault, and Louisville at 319, most likely getting very close to out of the tri-state. So we'll clear that off at this time. Tornado warning continues on right now for Perry County. Does not include Hancock County. The time that we have going on right now is 2:53, and this tornado warning is going to remain in effect here until 3:15. This was issued by the National Weather Service. As for the severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect right now in Perry County, not too sure if our system can differentiate. It does. Okay, very good. Severe thunderstorm warning for Hancock and Perry County, that goes until 3 o'clock. So not too much longer right now on the severe thunderstorm warning for Perry and Hancock counties. Tornado warning until 3:15. That is strictly just for Perry County. What I'll do now is I'll go right back, and I still want to take another look at the radar. We'll take a look now from the Owensville radar. It's still showing some pretty higher level, I should say rather, rotation in this particular storm, and that was also a concern as well. They could see the rotation, but they were not exactly sure if this would have the ability to actually get down to the surface or not, so they can actually see, just like we do. The Weather Service uses the different radars across the region, and so they saw this as well. So this actually still shows a little bit of higher level rotation inside this storm as well. And that's factoring in the storm relative. This is factoring the direction the storm is moving. If we take in just the velocities by themselves, you can see not as much. Now, they did just trim back this tornado warning, so Tell City, you're in the clear at this time. There's no longer a tornado warning in effect for Tell City. They did not extend this any further to the north and east. So Leopold, you are fine. Ranger, though, Gatchel, Lilydale, still under this tornado warning right now until 3:15. And I hear some beeping going on in the background. That could be an update, most likely for the tornado warning that they just trimmed back, but I'll take a look at it. Yes, so basically just updating it, saying tornado warning continues on until 3:15, 7 miles to the northeast of Tell City. Now, we do have from the National Weather Service damage reported on the north side of Tell City. Now, there is no further details to that at this time as to what that damage may be, but nonetheless, this tornado warning was in effect for Tell City, and now we are getting some reports of some type of damage in Tell City. Again, not too sure what that is. I'll step off from time to time when I hear the beeping going on in the background to kind of see if they have any indication of what kind of damage that may have been. So we'll go right back over now to our Louisville radar to see if we could find any low-level rotation. And one thing I'm noticing right now is it's getting very close to outside of this tornado warning polygon. Lilydale, this would be in your area right about now, and that's where I'm looking. We still have this blue. It's not too bright shade of a blue, but a quick spin-up tornado with this tropical system that, it was Gordon, the rims of Gordon is what we're getting today. Of course, the whole system itself is a very broad rotating system. So what I'm looking at here now towards Lilydale is slightly brighter shades of red right here, just to the south and to the east of Lilydale. That would be my next concern right there. Yes, this is kind of moving up to the north and east. That's where the polygon is. But if I were to kind of estimate right now where this tornado would be, I would say to the east of Indiana 37, getting now into possibly the Lilydale area. There's the next update. It does have this now, if this is a tornado warning, or rather a tornado that has touched down. This latest scan would be putting it right in the Lilydale area, just to the south and east of Gatchel. This will be getting outside the severe thunderstorm warning polygon. Since that new scan came in, I'd like to take a look just at the velocities by themselves, and those are not too impressive, so that's hopefully some good news there. It's the storm relative velocity that's a little more impressive with this particular rotation here, and this is moving to the north and the east. This is getting very close, though, to getting outside of the polygon. So just to be safe, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in even closer now to see if our system can actually pick up any more cities that might be in this particular area of where this tornado warning might be. Now, I didn't pick up any cities, but I like that it did do this, kind of give you some road names of where this may be. So Deep Creek Road, looks like it goes right through Lilydale, Thunder Road, Abner Road, as well as Tiger Road. If you live in those areas, in the Perry County area, you should be in your safe spot right now, because this could possibly be where the tornado is at this time. As we take a very close zoom in here, you can kind of see again these brighter shades of this red to these darker shades of blue. That would indicate the rotation. That would be going that direction right there. And it picks up the way the rain's moving to and away from the radar to begin to determine these colors, because if you pick up the rain and you can see the way the rain is moving inside a storm, obviously that would be the way that the winds are moving inside the storm. And again, that tornado would be wrapping around that rain. We're going to zoom out now here just a little bit, kind of out. Oh, no, that was the zoom in. We'll zoom out here just a little bit of this area because we just had another scan come in, which looks like that it might be even more broad. And what I was looking at earlier in Lilydale has broadened out even more. Let's zoom out just a little bit more so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about in this particular area. So that area there I was talking about earlier, the brighter shade of red, that was getting a little close to Lilydale and into the polygon. There's a severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, just expired at 3 o'clock. Tornado warning continues till 3:15. That has now separated even more, which is a good indication that if this was a tornado, showing signs of weakening as well. So I'll zoom out here just a little bit more to kind of see how things are looking outside the polygon, and everything seems to be okay. Not going to out some strong winds nonetheless south of Leopold, because those still indicate some strong winds nonetheless. So what I'd like to do to kind of give you an idea of what's going on in your location across all of the tri-state, we're going to zoom out here. I'm going to turn the radar back on across all of the tri-state, and I'm going to step off the screen here for just a moment so I can see if there might be any updates from the National Weather Service. And there are the rain showers and thunder showers right now. These are all, again, part of what is left of Gordon that was down in the Gulf of Mexico earlier this week. Brought a lot of rain down there. Tropical storm is what it was. And let's see, no updates right now from the National Weather Service of any more particular damage or any thoughts of extending this tornado warning at this time. So here's what we have going on right now. This is the system. It's pulling off to the north and east right now, and a little winds can be associated with this because it is a tropical system, and a lot of heavy rain at times as well. Some flash flooding definitely possible. In fact, we do have some flash flooding going on across parts of the tri-state today. I'll kind of show you what's going on here to give you an indication of what we have going on. So a lot of flooding, different types of flooding warnings, aerial flood warnings, flash flood warnings, things of that nature. So anything that you see here in the blue, the potential still exists. There can be some flooding going on, especially on the side streets, things of that nature. And as we go back to the radar, you can kind of see why all the heavy rain is confined up to our north, not so much down in western Kentucky, which is what we expected with this system, because the track was going to go from the southwest up to the north and east with this. So the heavier rain would be up to the north and to the north and east of Evansville. Also, we had those flash flood watches that are still in effect, by the way, till 7 o'clock this evening, or 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, rather. Heavy rain right now right along the radar site there in the Princeton area. So what we'll do now is we're going to go back. We're going to go back into that tornado warning, see if there might be showing any more indications of weakening with this. I'll go right back over to the Louisville radar. We'll go right back to the rotation. Still, I mean, even from right here, you can kind of see the colors, the brighter shades of red and the blues there. So we are going to zoom right back into that to look and see if there might be any significant rotation with this, if there might be any signs of it getting any stronger. In fact, if I were to guess, I'd say this is still getting weaker, and at best, I would almost go now a possible straight line wind event that would be pushing into Leopold here very soon. In fact, I want to zoom in just a little bit closer on this particular system, especially as we're getting closer to Leopold now at this time. You can see the brighter shades of the reds there. There's your latest scan right there. Still not seeing anything too significant now in the form of a tornado warning now with this. Of course, they'll keep it going till probably about 3:15 because we're only 12 minutes away now from this expiring. So they'll probably just let this ride off at this time, even if they don't suspect there might be a tornado associated with it anymore. Generally, once you start getting close to this time frame, they'll go ahead and just let it ride out. But now I would say this is getting a little bit closer now to a straight line winds. Could be some strong winds with this. In fact, I'll step off the screen and I'll look at the velocity speeds inside of this to kind of see what kind of winds we're looking at that would be pushing into Leopold at this time. So there it is, 56 mile-per-hour winds estimated by the Doppler radar just to the south there of Leopold. I'll do it here just to the north and east of Lilydale, 58 mile-per-hour winds. So that is borderline criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning. To the north and east there of Bandon, 50 mile-per-hour winds as well. So these are still some pretty strong winds nonetheless. So yes, they have canceled the severe thunderstorm warning with this. They have not canceled, obviously, the tornado warning. When that does cancel, we'll be sure to head off air and get you back to your regularly scheduled programming, which now I'm not too sure what we have on. I know we had the football game going on with ABC. We did have Big Bang Theory going over on a Local 7. So we'll get you back to that here very, very soon. But I'm going to go ahead and just, again, put a time frame on this for you to kind of see where you may be in the path of this tornado warning. If I were to estimate where this tornado warning or where this tornado would be if there was one, I would say just right now crossing over Indiana 37 to the south of Leopold and to the east there of the Gatchel area, to the north and east there of Lilydale is where this would be. So we'll put a track on that for you to kind of, oh, that's going to go into the 3D model. Give me just a second for the system to back up. It's a great little feature here. It's a kind of shows you the 3D areas, how high up the clouds are and things of that nature. And that's something we could show from time to time. But right now what's more important is this particular tornado warning that we have going on right now over here in Perry County that's set to last for about 10 more minutes. And get the camera kind of panned over so that we can see what's going on here. And one thing you can look at too, even outside the velocities, are notches inside the storm. And that could be a possible notch going on right there, but nothing looks too concerning. And these notches, they're outside the tornado warning polygon there, so not too terribly concerned about those at this time. We will zoom in just a little bit closer here, and then we'll put a track on this for you. We're going to go right back over also to the radar. Oh, hit the home button. Hit the wrong button there. We'll go right back into this particular area of Perry County, and then we're going to move the camera back over, and then we'll go right back over to the Louisville Radar site. In fact, I actually want to use Owensville Radar, again, just for a second to look up in the higher level of the storm. And that is still actually rather impressive, in my opinion, in the higher levels of the storm. And again, that was a concern they had from the Weather Service out of Louisville, is with this rotation, would it actually be able to get down to the surface? And there's that rotation right now still kind of going on up inside the higher levels of the storm. And this is getting very close to outside of the polygon. There's the latest update right there. So what I want to do now is zoom out just a little bit. This is getting outside the polygon. So this warning is set to expire here at 3:15. Right now the time, according to my clock, is 3:06, and this is getting outside of the polygon. So now the question is going to be, does the Weather Service feel confident enough to go ahead and expire this warning or extend it because of what I'm seeing right here just to the south of Leopold? That's not a very bright shade of red, but nonetheless, with the system that we have over us today, it doesn't take much for a tornado to quickly spin up and go away. So that's the Louisville, or that's the Owensville radar. Let's check the Louisville radar, and we'll do the storm relative on that one. And not as impressive, a little bit closer down to the surface, but nonetheless, it's still picking up those more intense winds just outside here of the red box that you see there. So I will zoom in a little bit closer so that we can see maybe a particular city as to where this tornado would be if there was one, because again, this is getting outside of the warning area now. It didn't pick up any more cities for us, but that's fine. It gives us a street level view, which is a little bit better in my opinion, given some street names versus just saying a city. So if there is a tornado here, I would say at this time it would be County Road 33, County Road 22, It looks like Ultimate Road. This is just to the north and to the east of Tiger Road. So if you live down the Tiger Road area, I think you're just fine. Here's the latest sweep that came in. Puts us even further now outside of this particular tornado warning. We're going to zoom out here since they put the stronger winds outside. Still, in my opinion, showing signs of not being as intense or as weakening, weakening, not as strong as it was earlier. Okay, there you go. They have extended this tornado warning. So let me step outside. In fact, they put it exactly where I thought they were going to put it because this area I've been watching now, that I've been telling you about, that was getting close to outside of this particular warning is where they have issued this new warning. So let me step aside here. I'm going to get the exact particulars on this to see what they are doing. Okay, so they're still calling this a radar-indicated tornado. So there's no true confirmation that this has actually been a tornado at anywhere in Perry County. And they're saying the exact same thing. What I noticed as well, they saw new circulation developing outside of the original tornado warning. So this is now a tornado warning, but it's going to be for Crawford, Harrison. Of course, that is out of the tri-state and Perry counties. This lasts until 4:45 Eastern time and moving to the north and east at 35 miles per hour. Now, once this actually gets out of the Perry County area, that is outside of our viewing area. So what I want to do here for just a moment is actually see where in Perry County this particular tornado warning is. So I'm going to just turn off the velocities for a moment, zoom back out, and there you go. There's your idea, just for the moment, of where this tornado warning, this new tornado warning is in Perry County. I've turned off the radar, turned off everything, just so that you can see exactly where this new box is here. So this is kind of cutting right through the Leopold area. This is just a very kind of eastern to northeastern section of Perry County. And again, this is goes until 4:45, but that, of course, would be Eastern time zone. So that is about 30. That's a little bit longer than for a tornado warning. 30 minutes is kind of the typical. They're going more of a 35-minute time frame on this. So we're going to turn the radar back on at this time. In fact, I got to go switch the system back into the mode that lets me use the hand tracker. So let me step off the screen here for just a second. Had to do that so I could show you how things were looking with that new particular warning. Again, that goes until 4:45 Eastern time. They're still just saying it's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. They're not saying this is indeed a tornado. No confirmation of that just yet. But nonetheless, they did have some damage in Tell City, which they estimated, or said rather, that there would be possible damage from this, just from the 60-mile-per-hour winds with that severe thunderstorm warning, much less, of course, a tornado warning. So we're going to zoom in now. We're going to go into this particular new warning that was just issued by the Weather Service. That does include the city of Leopold. You were not in that earlier, but now Leopold, you are a part of this severe or tornado warning, rather. So we're going to get in here, put a new track, and I even think, too, that the particulars they put on this one sped it up just a little bit, putting it to the north and east at 35 miles per hour. This old tornado warning that will be expiring soon, that one was for 30-mile-per-hour winds. They've made this one 35-mile-per-hour winds. I will go ahead and give you a time frame on this. We'll go ahead, in fact, first off, I want to see where this rotation, possible rotation, might be, and that is from where then I will draw the track, which the tornado would be right about in here, just if I were to estimate south and east there of Leopold. So Leopold, depending where you live in Leopold, if you're kind of on the east side of town, you would be in the tornado warning. If you're on the west side, looks like you're in the clear, because the old warning that will expire here in just a couple of minutes is not for you. So you are good to go there. So Leopold, I would mean, by all means, I'd say all of Leopold, be aware. Be in your safe zone right now. I don't want to start splitting towns by any means. If your city's under the tornado warning, then definitely take your safe zone, because as we just saw with this system, it went outside where the warning was issued. It went outside. They had to issue a new warning with this because it was going outside. So now Magnet, Dexter, Indiana 66 in that particular area. That would be where this next potential tornado would be if there was one. So we'll go ahead and back out just a smidge here so we can get a better look at our cities once I get the alignments going here. And tell you what we'll do. We'll actually, like I said earlier, we'll use the squall, and I'm going to put it right about here. And again, this was more of a northeasterly movement. This was going a little bit faster, as I mentioned earlier, at about 35 miles per hour, almost getting off the screen here. So I just mentioned Magnet. Of course, there it is. It does have you in the path of this, as well as Duchars, again, a city I'm not too familiar with, so my apologies if I pronounced that incorrectly, and Beechwood at 443. Of course, those last two I just mentioned, as you see there, Eastern time zone. Our system is smart enough, if you will, to calculate that you're in the Eastern time zone. This is broad rotation, so that's good news to report. The old tornado warning has now been expired. I heard a couple beeps going on back here, so I'm going to check with the Weather Service to see if they're giving any new particulars, any reports of any damage, anything of that nature. And okay, so yes, we do have reports of some damage in Tell City, a garage door and a roof damage to a warehouse building on the north side of Tell City. Also, several fences and large trees are down. And of course, since it's a tropical system holding a lot of moisture and rain with it, flooding going on in Tell City as well. So we do have reports of damage now. Garage door damaged, as well as a roof to a warehouse building on the north side of Tell City, which, by the way, Tell City, just to give you a reminder, you're in the clear at this time. There's no tornado warning for you anymore. Yes, the tornado warning is in effect still for Perry County, but this does not include Tell City. Several fences and large trees down as well. So that's kind of another good indication as to why the Weather Service would go ahead and extend this as well, because of the reports of the damage that they had. Does not mean it's a tornado by any means. It could have just been from the winds, the 60 mile per hour or stronger winds they had going on when it was just a severe thunderstorm warning. But nonetheless, with reports of damage, with seeing some possible circulation, very smart move to go ahead and continue this on as a tornado warning. Now that became a little concerning, that last sweep right there, and I'll step off the screen and I'll show you why that latest sweep became just a little bit more concerning for me. Granted, still not very strong rotation with this, but nonetheless, it's still some rotation. So what I'm watching right now is this area right here. This will be just to the south and to the west of Alton, essentially directly west of Leopold, right on top of Indiana 66. Between Leopold and Alton is the area of focus I'm watching at this time for this particular tornado. Now, I mentioned it, there was a touch concerning with this latest sweep, because as we go back and look at the past several, there wasn't too much going on, because what you try to look for is, yes, you do look for these areas of the blue against the pink. There's a new warning coming in. Let me see what they are issuing with this to see. So, of course, we already have the tornado warning going on. This is a new warning. And, okay, all they've done there is extend some flash flood warnings for Davies, Knox counties in Indiana. So that is why that is going off. It looks like they're going to continue extending some more of these flash flood warnings as well. Flash flood warning, by the way, for Pike and Gibson counties. That goes until 7:15 tonight. That was just issued by the National Weather Service out of Paducah that serves those areas. That's a quite extended flash flood warning right now. It says law enforcement reporting heavy rain across the area with flash flooding underway right now. So we'll, as always, turn around, don't drown. Do not drive through any flooded roads. You have no idea how deep that water may be and if the road may even be there anymore. It could be washed out. So be mindful of that as you're out driving this evening. So back to the tornado warning now here for Perry County. And I've backed up a couple frames because what we look for is to see where this rotation might be spinning in the atmosphere is what we are looking for. So you kind of look for it to come in this direction like that, and with some spin going on. And there wasn't too much of that right there, nor there. But as we look at the current velocities, the latest scan, that's not too bad actually. That's looking good. But you can see as I go back and forth, a little tighter here in this particular area, just to the south and west there of Alton, slightly tighter. As I put it into the current from the National Weather Service, you can see how it's becoming a little bit more broader. So this could be showing signs of maybe pulsing up and down just a little bit, but nothing too indicative that this, of course, would be a tornado continue on right now and indeed on the ground, especially since we have no reports from law enforcement or anything in this particular area. But nonetheless, the Weather Service even just said just right now, you can probably hear some noises in the background, that they are indeed seeing some decent rotation with this. And so that's what I was showing you earlier on the other radar as well. So now if I were to kind of mention where this might be, I would say Alton, this is getting fairly close to you. And there's the latest update right there. And that would, it's still a very broad rotation just to the south and to the west there of Alton. But I want to look up slightly higher here in this particular system. And there's a good notch right there. And that's right inside the tornado warning box, as you see right there, just directly to the east of 66, to the south of Alton. I'm going to look at that notch right there, go back to my storm relative, and don't see too much going on there. In fact, let me just make sure that we're also here looking at storm relative from Owensville. This is a good sign. This is a very good sign. Earlier, I was using this radar to kind of show you the higher levels of rotation going on inside the storm. There were shades of red against shades of blue. Now it's just blue. There's one small little area that you see right there, that shade of red. That's not too concerning. So I'm going to go back in time, and you can see right there. That would be what they were most likely looking at to continue on this particular tornado warning. In fact, it's kind of hard to see because it's right on the polygon. This area right here, just that was down to the south there of 66, down to the south and east of Leopold, some strong winds with a little bit of a couplet there as well. And of course, that was moving to the north and east. But as we move ahead now in time, this is some data from 320, or not 322-21 rather. As we move ahead in time, you can see how that begins to really begin to fall apart. This is from looking a little higher up in the storm, from the Owensville Radar. That's in Gibson County, which, by the way, we have that flash flood warning for Gibson County, also Pike County as well. So we'll take a look at raw velocities. Nothing too terribly impressive there either, so that is good. But we will go back now to the Louisville Radar to check a little bit lower levels of the storm to see how things are looking there. And we're really starting to lose our shades of blue at this time. In fact, this is kind of almost out of the Perry County area. There's the cutoff line that you see there. So this is in the Alton area where some of those stronger winds would be. A little bit of blue still mixed in with this, just directly to the west of Leopold. That's basically right on the county line. As I zoom in, or zoom out rather, a little bit closer, you can kind of see that there is a tornado associated with this. I would say it's basically now on the Ohio River. It would be crossing over the Ohio River between Magnet and Alton. Of course, Alton is not in our viewing area here in the tri-state. That is just directly outside of the tri-state, but you may still get our signal over there in Crawford County, Meade County, or Breckenridge counties. But nonetheless, this is still showing very good signs of weakening, in my opinion. In fact, hardly any shades of blue now with this, indicating some winds